Ready for your pap? Sure, I'm ready. Like you're not, you ain't ever ready, but go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do this. So we recording, yo. We just started, yo.
I'm ready.
So, Dr.
I'm ready.
Wendy, why you been avoiding me, yo? How you doing?
I'm saying I've been ducking and dodging because you think that I got the freestyle skills and I don't know that I do. But we're here today.
For those who ain't listening, or those who are listening, my bad. So we've been trying to make this interview happen for at least over a month.
Yes.
I dared her that she gonna come on and get prompted to do a freestyle. Like this is like Sway, right? Like Sway
Right.
mornings, right? You gonna come on, and since you all about parodying people and all about spitting lyrics, you gonna have to spit some lyrics on this show on Docs Outside the Box.
I got my lyrics on my palm though.
I know you prepared. So I know some people are listening like, who is this? So Dr. Wendy, what's good? Welcome to Docs Outside the Box. How you doing?
Thank you so much, Dr. Nee. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. I've been watching you, with your videos, with your parodying for at least a year when I discovered it, but obviously you've been doing it for longer than that.
Been doing a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love the especially on YouTube, you can watch kind of like the arc, or at least you just getting better and better, starting from rapping in a bedroom to rapping in your car, to now like you doing like full-fledged production videos, right? Like stepping your game up. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I consider YouTube, it's like my collection, like the body of work, right? Because it's not like I post there very often, but like all my videos are there. So you really can see from like the humble beginnings
right.
to now.
Right, which is no joke. I mean, that's where it's supposed to be, though, right? Let's talk real quick about that, because everybody's looking for perfection, and everybody's looking for some reason why they can't record. But you are Dr. Every Woman. You are a doctor. You are mom. You are wife. You're very busy. So the fact that you're able to figure this out in between, that's dope.
I told somebody yesterday, I'm like, some people, binge Netflix series and I make videos, like people are like, how do you do this? I'm like, you got the time just like I got the time. No shade to Netflix because I've been some stuff myself, but it's just like, it's how you use your time. It's what you desire to do. It's what makes you happy, So like, I have a good time with this, and why not spend time kind of perfecting the art? And you're right. You don't just come out the gate good. I don't even consider myself good yet. I feel like I'm on my way there. But you don't come out the gate like that. You got to practice. You got to get some stuff wrong, and you have to be not afraid to show your butt. Like what I mean by that, like I don't be showing my actual butt. But you can't be afraid to like show this stuff is flawed. Like you gonna see me acting a whole fool sometimes or messing some stuff up, but post, it's gonna be there anyway.
It is what it is, right? Our president just said it. It is what it is. You're just gonna put the post out there.
This is gonna get that corona everywhere. It is what it is. That's a different is what it is. Right. But yeah, because it's like if you strive for perfection and that's the only thing that you'll let people see, you ain't gonna let people see nothing.
Right. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. So let's jump right into it. So you call yourself the Weird Al Yankovic of, I guess, medicine, of healthcare. And I agree. I think you're actually better, but I agree.
Oh, thanks.
What's your favorite Weird Al Yankovic song?
Oh, Bad.
Eat It.
Bad. Eat It? Because I'm fat. I'm fat. I mean, like these days that would not go far when it comes to being politically correct, but he killed that video and song. Like he was like, I eat it. Like I'm fat. Like all of this, and he was like proud, and he just. He danced and he like recreated the feeling of the video. He had all the dudes in the back. Do you remember when he did that video? He had the guys dancing. You don't get any better than that. Like that to me is the quintessential Weird Al. Like, that's goals right there, is to embody something like that.
Old Boy's been doing this since the late 70s. Because my favorite is Eat It. Eat It came out in 1984, obviously off of Beat It. And which was amazing also, but he's still going strong right now. He's got like six Grammys.
Yeah. And what I haven't perfected or understood about what Weird Al does is how he gets the rights to these songs. Like you just literally took a Michael Jackson joint, a couple of them, and was able to like, repurpose it for your own use. That's what I'm trying to figure out how to do. But I love that he does it, because that's the whole point. Like these songs, what I love about parodies is that the songs bring a feeling. The songs make you feel of some kind of way or remind you of something, but then you flip it and like, and then people are like, what? Which is the joy of comedy too, because the whole thing about comedy is a surprise. It's almost always a like, what did you just say moment? And you can do that with songs, just like you can do it with jokes.
So how did you get started on all this? Is this like you? Like, is this you, or did you have to morph into this, or have you been the type of person who just always, because I do that, right? Or our friends do that. You taking a bus home, you hear your favorite lyrics or your favorite beat, and then you change it up. And, it's not going to go anywhere. But like, how did all this start where you're like, man, I got talent, I could do this?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know that I have talent. And that's the other thing. Like, I'm not trying to be all like modest, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know why people like this stuff. I have a great time, but I don't know why anybody else is listening to this. But even as a kid, I think this is me. It's been me. I even as a kid would see a commercial and I'd be like, that commercial could say this instead of that, and it'd be funny or it would be better. And then when I started to, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, I think 2017, I started to sing random songs in the car on the way to work, like the actual lyrics of the songs. And people were like, oh, she can sing. And I'm like, no, I can't, but thanks. And then I was like, wait, I can flip this song to be about X, Y, and Z. And people started to really like it. And I'm like, this is so fun for me to catch people off guard with some stuff that's really comfortable for me. I've been told on multiple occasions I'm too comfortable with like all things gynecology. So to like slap people in the face with it is like, my little gift to the world.
Well, I mean, we in some regards we're so PC, right? We're politically correct, but in other worlds, what you're talking about with healthcare and
day to day,
the space down there, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to talk about it and be free to talk about it, right? So
yes, and be frank. And I'm very, very frank, as you can tell.
Oh yeah. But that's what makes it better, So this is something else I want to jump onto and just ask you. So, you do a lot of reworking of like rap lyrics and some hip hop songs and so forth that are a mix between rap and some R&B and so forth. So just right now, real quick, give me your top 5 rappers of all time, and it could be co-ed.
So Lauryn Hill is going to be my number one, and I know like order? Yeah, I know that the hip hoppers in the world. Well,
we do that with Biggie.
Yes, okay, right. I was going to say true. Yes. Yes, because she's just so lyrically. Her delivery and then her like mix between the lyrics and the musicality of it. Like nobody to me can touch Lauryn Hill, but I know the hip hop heads in the world will judge me for this. And I know that because I'm married to one who, by the way, my dear husband, Ed, will give me some songs. He's like, you should flip this song. And I'm like, ooh, that is a dope song. I could totally flip that. So some of my like, hip hop street cred comes from him, but regardless, Lauryn is going to be number one for me. I'm going to put Biggie and Tupac, up there because, of course, you can't not do that, especially from our generation. Like, I'm not crazy.
It would be blasphemy, probably.
I'm not that out of touch.
Although,
yes.
I could make a case I think you can make a case for moving Tupac out of top 5. But let's just keep on. Let's keep going.
We won't do this today because I don't feel like I can do that. I'm going to throw top 4 because I put 2 and 3. I kind of tied them at top 2 and 3. I'm going to put 4, everyone else ends up being in a similar place for me. That's so weird to say, I know, but like, I could make the argument for songs I love from so many artists. Like, I really do like Mos Def. I really do like Common. But at the same time, do I think one is better than the other? Do I think that either one of them are better than Busta Rhymes is like, you can't touch him in many ways.
He's underrated.
He's very underrated. You can't touch him in many ways. Love me some Ice Cube, clearly. And then
you had the makeup and everything in that parody.
Yes, I could do that today. I could do that today yes, that was a good time. And then when you go back to the women, like, somebody like Lil' Kim or
delivery is amazing.
Is impeccable. And even Cardi. I know people hate on Cardi, but Cardi, I feel like it's kind of dope. You don't really like Cardi? You're not on it? Okay, that's fair. I won't belabor the point. But he's like, nah, not gonna do it. Not go get on that train. But Lil' Kim, you was with me on Lil.
I'll put Lil' Kim up there. I'm not gonna say she's top 5, but okay. So I think that she was a natural transition from, in terms of lyric, like delivery. I think you had obviously the Queen Latifahs who were amazing.
Of course.
The MC Lights. who were just amazing. They, in terms of MC skills, lyrics, ability to hold a crowd, were phenomenal, can hold their own on any stage. And then I think the next step was obviously Lil Kim.
Right.
A little bit more raunchy, questionable who wrote the lyrics initially and so forth, but delivery is just amazing.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of just, it's a throw up after that. But I agree with you there.
Okay, cool. Well, at least I didn't disrespect the show. You know what I'm saying?
No, you ain't disrespect the show. I mean, but this is all about what it's like saying who's the best basketball player of all time, right? Like you from Chicago, you're from Chicago, and obviously you can't compete with 6 rings unless you're talking about Bill Russell, who has 18.
Right.
But obviously Michael Jordan's at the top of everybody's list.
For sure.
For me, I think, it's really hard to compare LeBron to Michael because they play so differently.
It's almost apples and oranges.
And it's a different generation. So it's the same thing with rap and hip hop. Like it's just different generations. Like Drake is obviously killing it right now. And he just is a content machine right now, right? He's just putting out content like crazy.
And I don't say that I really love Drake though. And I might, be offending folk, but I can't, I like some of his songs, but as a lyricist, I'm like, he all right.
So let's shift a little bit. I want to ask you about being the MD for humans with vaginas.
Yes.
So yes. When did you fall in love with medicine? When did you decide you wanted to be a doctor, and then where you at now?
I was a youngster. My good friend's mom, one of my best friends to this day, her mom was an OB-GYN. And she was this, dope Black woman, beautiful, well-spoken, but cool, not pretentious. You know what I'm saying? Not the provosts of the world that, speak, hello, I'm doctor. Like it was,
hello,
she was
Wendy.
not, hello, doctor. You where did you get the bass in your voice? Were you born with that? They breathe heavy. Hello, I am Dr. Such and such. She never was like that. She was so cool, but so polished. And she taught me stuff about my body when I was a kid. Like, oh, sis, you can't use this bubble bath. You're going to be irritated, or you're going to have this or that. Or, as a woman, we need to make sure we're taking care of X, Y, and Z. And I was like, this is your profession. Like, literally your job is to know about my body. You don't get any better than that. Now, of course, you get through undergrad and into med school, and people are like, oh, you don't want to be an OB-GYN. You don't want to be an obstetrician gynecologist because you'll be up all night. You'll be delivering babies. It's a terrible lifestyle. You want a family. You're not going to be able to have one. So then I tried to change my mind. I legit was like, okay, let me try something different that would, give me a better quote unquote lifestyle. To me, gynecology is untouchable. Like you can't, in my mind, do any better than that. And I was like, well, we're just going to have to deal, we're just going to have to deal with the lifestyle and do what I love. Otherwise otherwise what's the point to go through all this and end up, with more free time and not enjoying the time, you know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that I do get up every day and do something that I enjoy.
Yo, real quick on a real. So I was looking through your stuff and, I got to do research. So I graduated from Xavier University. Yo, shout out to Xavier. Yo, what's going on? What is it that y'all are doing that y'all are able to put out so many minority physicians from this one institution? HBCU and a Catholic university too, right?
Yeah, it's Catholic. I think it's Catholic, but that because you see the nuns, but otherwise you don't really know that. I say that because it's not like it's a big presence on the yard or whatever, the Catholic part. But regardless, XU rocks the house. Xavier University of Louisiana, and I have to be specific because there's St. Xavier's and all these other Xavier. No, Xavier University of Louisiana in New Orleans rocks the house, putting the most Black people into med school, pharmacy school, and maybe some other schools. I have to fact check myself, but over the last decade, that's why I went there. It was actually the only HBCU I applied to because I came from Chicago, went to University of Chicago Lab. Nobody at my school, it was a predominantly white institution. Nobody at my school was talking about any HBCUs.
But in Chicago State is in your backyard, so.
It is. But, again, that wasn't on my radar.
Gotcha.
We were a little too bougie for that. No shade. I took some classes at Chicago State over the summer, but we were a little too bougie to be over Chicago State. So, I'm over here looking at Northwestern and University of Michigan and, Wash U and all these schools. And Xavier crept up into my DMs before there were DMs. And they were like, come on down, see the campus. And then they start showing the stats. And I was like, well, here we go. The person who wants to be a doctor happens to be Black, and you're putting Black, doctors into med school, sign me up. So there I was. And yeah, we're still cranking them out. The pre-med department, it's very structured. So like you get down there and your major's already biology, your minor's already chemistry. You can do a second minor, which I did which was Spanish, but they really do have a formula, if you will, which has its pros and cons, because we're not the ones that are, well, at least when I was there, not the ones coming to med school with like, the economics background and like the, non-traditional students. We were very traditional, and they were like, this is what you do. This is how you get your research. You do your, your whatever internships, you get these grades, you get these scores, the MCAT scores, like you act right and get into these schools. But they get it right, and they support you. This is not a school where, you hear some schools that are like, oh, they weed you out. They're weeding out the people who, really aren't that serious about it. You get there, you have to prove yourself. No, at Xavier, you get there and their job was to get you where you wanted to go.
Oh,
and
so
I
they teach you up.
They teach you up. They get you there. And then you have like the schools that come there because they're looking for diversity. So they come to do these like, little forums and stuff to try to like meet students. And I mean, the process is unmatched. And I'll hype up my school any and every day.
I think that I remember there was a New York Times article several years about the school. But in light of there was this recent article that was put up by the American Heart Association that talked about diversity and talked about affirmative action. It went really hard against affirmative action. It's getting a lot of pushback on Twitter. Mm-hmm. But, you can contrast that article, how it got through, and you contrast that with, what Xavier has been able to do, for consistently over 10 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not maybe, definitely
longer. Definitely longer.
It's really impressive. And it's something that a lot of people need to know about, that, you have this amazing HBCU with not many resources, but it's able to pump out as many medical professionals from minority backgrounds, is something that is to be celebrated, particularly when you know that the majority of these people will go into neighborhoods or communities that don't have enough physicians, medical professionals, areas that are underserved. So it's really doing some amazing work.
Yeah, totally. And it needs to be, like you said, celebrated and replicated in many other places.
Now you went, after you went to Xavier, you went down to Northwestern. They call it the Evil Empire. You got your training on in the nice area of Chicago and everything. Amazing institution.
Yes.
And then afterwards, you started practicing with a private practice group. But I'm interested, like, when did you start to realize, okay, I'm practicing, but there's this thing that I want to do with music. There's this thing I want to do with being an author, because you wrote this book called It Smells Like Popcorn.
About to relaunch it, actually. I just got a new cover that I love, and I'm about to relaunch it. Yeah, that birth. So for just timeline's sake, I finished my undergrad in 2003. I did my medical school at Northwestern until 2007. That's where I got all my student loans. My eyes roll. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to those. I twitch when I say it. And then I finished my residency in 2011. And then going into practice, I now had 2 kids. I was married. I was, trying to get my life together. And I remember feeling like, when we were young, the internet, as I love to call it, wasn't super prevalent. Like, I remember going in the Dewey Decimal System, looking up books and all this stuff, right? So now people in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, like 2010s, were getting so much health information from Google, from Dr. Google. And I remember telling patients, listen, if you're going to get some information about your pregnancy or about your health, go to a .gov, go to a .edu. Like, don't just get this stuff from these blogs and these, chat rooms and these .coms. And then I'm saying to myself, okay, if I'm going to hate on the presence of health information on the internet, why don't I promote or present health information that I consider to be valid on the internet? From still a person, from a blog, so I created this blog. This was in 2016 or early 2017, Gynecoblogic, started writing in that. And then this patient in 2017, some kind of way, asked me about the smell of her vagina. And that's not a foreign thing. That wasn't funny to me because, that is what it is. But when she said it smelled like popcorn, I don't remember exactly how loud I laughed, but I know I laughed like out loud.
Is that real?
Like, what did you just say? And you know me, like this, how I am with you right now is literally me in the office. And I'm like, what did you just say? And she was like, it smells like popcorn. And I was like, okay.
Did you agree?
I didn't smell it, but I also feel like I'm a little muted because I am a gynecologist. I don't smell all the fishes and things in the world. So that's neither here nor there. So I was like, okay, here we go. We got to write. We got to make this a thing. More than just a blog. I'm going to make an A to Z guide of all things women's health that I can think of, answer these questions in a way that only I can. You can find any information you want to on the internet, but like, I feel like I have a little bit of a twist when I present stuff. Like because I come from nothing medical. Nobody in my family is doctors or health professionals. And so I came from, lift your hand up and walk around when you're choking, to, like you actually, get your windpipe together to, that's, my trachea, and there's food and I need to not aspirate. And so I feel like I have a way of bringing the people who come from where I come from, didn't really understand the technical side, to now explaining things the way I kind of learned to understand them myself. And so then I was like, well, let me write a book and explain these medical topics in a way that hopefully will bring you from kind of zero to here. So yeah, It Smells Just Like Popcorn was just the cheeky way of me presenting a lot of health information. And I'm like, your vagina could smell like worse things. So like, if we're going to have a book title, that might be the one.
Yo, I'm interested in how are you able, because I think a lot of people have an issue with this, particularly even I think women have an issue with this, where you're just trying to be yourself, but still trying to fit in, assimilate to the medical world. Like there's no assimilating with you. Obviously, from a clinical standpoint,
sure,
credential standpoint, you've checked all the boxes, you got all that stuff. So how do you get so comfortable in your skin? Because I've seen your videos where even in the office, like you're the same way.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I literally am. And I think it's just, first of all, you got to come say hi to my baby girl because old crazy here is just going to not say hi.
Hi, how you doing?
She said, because I'm here. He said, how you doing? No, you're going to have to go. Go find your brother. Love you.
We like guest appearances on Docs.
Clearly, that was a drop-in. That was a cameo. Bye. You're going to have to edit this out. Maybe.
We might just keep it in.
You should. Look, that part too. Can you go find your brother and hang out? We'll go there where he is. Love you. Oh, crazy self. Yeah, I've had dreams about this actually, about like assimilating and about like my partners coming into my office like, Dr. McDonald, Dr. Wendy, you're going to have to reel it in. But I think, you mentioned this earlier and I know we're probably going to come back to it, but I can't help but bring it up. Issa Rae, between Issa Rae and it's going to sound crazy, Donald Trump. Okay, let me tell you why I bring up Donald Trump right now.
Those are your inspirations, right?
They're a little bit of my inspirations.
So let's start with Issa Rae first.
Let's start with Issa Rae. So Issa Rae, she did Insecure. Whenever that kicked out, she kicked over. And then went back and kind of binged Awkward Black Girl. And it's like this ownership, this pride in being whoever you are, right? And understanding that we all have flaws, that we're trying to fit into this world that is not completely receptive of us, but that like there's some fun in that and there's some joy in being that person that you don't expect. So I was this, you almost get clearance, you almost get a little bit of like freedom to just be yourself when you see somebody like Issa Rae on center stage, being awkward. And I'm like, right. Yes, I love that. And then the Donald came out of nowhere and was like, I'm going to be president. And
he made it happen.
And we all laughed in his face until he was president. And then it's like, well, damn.
I can imagine what was going through his mind when he was remember the last White House correspondent dinner where President Barack Obama was roasting him.
Mm-hmm.
He was heated and he's just like,
You wait. Yeah. You just wait. And then, so there was something to be said about, like, who says you can't, that, not that I want him to do what he's doing. Don't get me wrong. Like, if we could rewind time, we would flip that thing. But it's like who says you can't? Who says as a doctor, a board certified OBGYN, you can't make music videos? Like, who says you can't write a book about, some funny stuff that's actually legitimately accurate? It's kind of like, Like who's gonna challenge me? You know what I'm saying? Like that was a little bit of where some of my shenanigans came from.
Well, I think that we're in that point now where you can be comfortable in your skin. There's so many different ways that we can communicate with each other, right? Like
Yeah.
we're communicating with each other on a podcast, and we're talking the way that normal doctors don't normally talk, right?
Right.
For me,
but yet we both got credentials.
We got the credentials, right? And I'm not gonna front. Like when I grew up a nerd in New York City, right? I was on the computers, I was on the Commodore 64, and I was made fun of. I was a nerd. Right. But you fast forward now and you're looking at people who are killing it in the tech game on YouTube, millionaires driving Teslas and all these different things. Is because, now the platform allows you to be who you are. And there's a huge of people who are going to be like, look, like I'm the same way. So when I saw Issa Rae first on Awkward, was it the Diaries or something?
Diaries of an Awkward Black Girl or something like that.
And you watch and you're just like, wow, like I've never
or
seen
Misadventures.
This before. Yeah. Right, I've never seen someone really embrace how awkward they are, but tell it in a very funny, relatable story. And she was consistent as hell with this.
Yes.
And to do
she's
this,
sharing her thoughts. She's doing it's like background, and you're like, wow.
It's a lesson. It's a lesson I tell to the audience and even people who I coach on starting a podcast is stop trying to be perfect. Just be who you are. Stop trying to be someone else. If you say while you're talking or whatever it may be, if you know that you have dry humor, that only one people get, just embrace it. Right. Which I want to ask you about. Like, so, your comedy, your sense of humor, describe that in one word.
Random? I don't know if that's the word. That's the first word that came to mind was random. Because I feel like I do try to surprise people with stuff they would not normally see or hear. So maybe, and so random is a thought that I come to, but maybe that's not the best word. But that's what I think. I think because that what factor is what I live for that. Like I live for the what did she just say? I live for that moment. Like even with one of my most recent ones with the Beyonce little remake of her Black is King, and I'm like, you were formed by the heat of the vagina. Like I gotta say it. I have to say that, because it's like, did she just okay,
So look, I'm gonna name some things real quick because I know. So you've done parodies off of Cardi B. So Lizzo was hot. I like that one.
I love that one.
All of these are hot, but there's some that I'm just like, damn,
I know I love Lizzo. So one of my favorites.
Your spoof off of Lizzo was good. SZA, that was hot. I like when you did that one.
Thank you.
That was really
Ed
hot.
And I did that. He recorded that, and then that was his voice at the beginning. That I need. He put that on there. I was like, yes.
Hamilton, you did. Hamilton was good. Post Malone, you did Brandy.
Yep.
Yo, yes. You did the moves and everything. I'm like, wait. So I Want to Be Down remix with Queen Latifah.
Oh, good times.
Who else?
I tried to be. What was that? Oh, we didn't even think about MC Light, by the way, as far as like
Light.
A lyricist. She's dope. But anyway, yes.
I said that. Didn't I say MC Light?
Did you say MC Light? Maybe I missed it. Okay.
But MC Light was in that video. Who else was in that? Yo-Yo was in there.
Yo-Yo.
And then you did Ice Cube. Today Was a Good Day.
Yes.
Yo, you ever worry about getting sued, yo? Because, you using straight beats from the...
I use the actual... I literally rip the songs. I hope
it's
that
hot,
my little...
It's fire, but,
I hope my little, I do not own the rights to this. This is not monetized because I don't make any money off of these. I literally... Part of the reason I do them is to educate. That's the main part, right? But the other part is for that visibility because I'm hoping that eventually I will get more... when you talk about return, everything we do has some potential for return. It would be like educating via books and via original content. And I actually have another book coming out, a new children's book, where the book is a rap. Enough? I know, right? I wrote it a couple years ago, but I'm finally now putting it out. It's like the illustration should be done this month. But the book is a rap. So Ed, I was just telling Ed yesterday, I was like, you got to give me a beat because it's an original song. And I feel like when kids listen to it, they could have the book and they could listen to the song. So I plan to do and have intentions of doing my own original stuff. But for these parodies, I'm hoping they wouldn't sue me because what they gonna get? It's not like I made money off of it. I'm not,
they about to get that student loan debt.
They could get that debt. They could take that from me easy. And then they could pull it. They could say oh, you can't, show this or whatever. And that's fine. So be it. But I don't see them trying to get anything else from me because I ain't got nothing from it,
So when did you realize with your parodies that they were catching fire on YouTube? When did you realize, oh snap, patients are like this? companies like this?
The first one that got a little bit of sprinkle was My Boo. That was the first one that people were like, did she just do a song about the pullout game? And I'm like,
you went hard on the pullout game. Yo, what's up with that?
That was so fun. And Ed inspired that one. He was like, you know what you could say here? And I was like, oh my God. So then I wrote the whole song. He's like, you literally wrote a whole song about a conversation we had. I'm like, I did. I wrote a whole song about the conversation we had about pullout game and about how it fails. It'll fail you.
It'll scare people.
Yes. Oh, intentionally. So that was the first one that people were like, okay, I see her. And then the second one that went wild was that Hamilton, that My Shot. And because I really spent some time on that one, like really working on the cadence of the lyrics and trying to fit in like real topics. So that was dope. Had a good time with that. And then the third one they really went far was that Drake, what's the one? Key, do you love me? But it was about seeing your, so that one, blackdoctor.org actually shared, that one got like 70,000 views or something like that. So I felt,
you still haven't gotten sued yet?
No, not yet.
I think, if it's at that point where you're getting like 70,000 shares, you would think like the record companies would be like, all right, we're going to sue you.
But for what?
But they not going to get,
I don't think what they is, it'd be one thing if I was over here making bank, but I'm not
monetizing it too. So
I'm not monetizing it. It's like, and nothing is monetized. So I don't know if anything, I feel like it might be something fun. I tag the artist. I'll be like, look, why don't you share this? Because it's valuable for the people, for the healthier culture,
So how do you do it? Is it the medical information that you say, hey, I want to get this out first, that comes to mind? Or is it, all right, I like this song, I like the lyrics, man, they should do it this way? So take us through that whole process, the formula of how you go from hearing a song to writing it out, the video, all that.
It starts with the music. It starts with the sound. It starts with the feeling from the music.
So you get inspired by the music first.
The music's first. It's a song and I'm like, ooh. Like that song, because I love music. As much as I don't have a huge body of like my top 20 artists or whatever, music will change my mood no matter what is going on. My kids are the same way. The first thing I did for them with this pandemic was get them MP3 players. And they sit, they can sit if they're just not fit and they just got their headphones on.
MP3 players.
They got them MP3 players. They still make them. Let me tell you something about MP3 player. It's got no internet connections. It's no extra. So listen, you talking about trying to like protect young eyes. Like I'll give you the music. You tell me what music you want. I got you. But you got a little thing like this with some music on it and you can have a good old time. So that's my 8-year-old and 11-year-old on those. But back to the question. So music first. Then I listen to the music and see, because the topics are endless. They really are. So it's like, what word or what phrase, back to my love of commercials when I used to flip them, could I put in this chorus or in this first couple of lyrics? And then it goes from there. Then I get out my notebook. I got 2 or 3, just like, leather-bound notebooks that my husband has got for me because he knows how much I like to write music.
So I
write my lyrics down.
You don't take the Jay-Z approach. Okay,
nope. No Jay-Z, no Kanye. I like write them down and I flip words. And sometimes I'll even take my phone and I'll actually save the lyrics and then I'll put them side by side in a column to my lyrics so that I make sure I'm matching cadences. I'm matching like, the syllables and stuff like that.
Make sure your bars are right.
I make sure my bars are right. And then I put it down. I used to do some more with Ed. And then now, before COVID, I was going to a studio where I would maybe put down 3 or 4 songs in a 2 or 3 hour session. And save them. And then I look for like what's health awareness topic is coming up.
Are you serious? When is it relevant? You really go to like a studio and record this?
Oh, I would like legit, like probably more than half of the songs I put out in videos, I recorded in bulk. Like I would come to the studio with all my tracks on a jump drive. I have like 3 to 5 songs. And I would record them all together. And then either my sound guy would finish them right then, or he would send them to me later, like after he kind of like polished them up a little bit. But now like this Ice Cube Ed and I did upstairs, we got a little studio in the house, a little mini studio. But we don't have as much time to do a bunch of them at once. But yeah, like I would for real rent out some space. I would do like a $30 or $40 hour, studio time and crank out 3 or 4 songs.
Wow.
And that was fun. Like that was so fun to be sitting in a music booth. Like I'm over here, like I'm for real an artist, you know, like let's take that one again. You know what I mean? That was dope.
Well, since it's so dope and since you feel so comfortable, why don't we flip this and let you do a freestyle right here? Because that's what we do, right? This is Docs Outside the Box in the morning.
What Dr. Nee is.
Since you talking all that stuff.
Houseway.
Let's just do Docs Outside the Box freestyle. You ready?
Sure.
All right, so I don't know how this is going to work. This is the first time that I'm actually going to put you on the spot or put a person on the spot.
Okay.
Freestyle. So I don't know if the audio, and don't use that as an excuse. I don't know what the audio.
I'm so ready to use it as an excuse. I was like, he shouldn't be telling me all of this. Like, oh no, the audio ain't right. It ain't right. Good.
So for the first time ever, guys, this is the first freestyle that we have someone on Docs Outside the Box doing. You ready?
I'm gonna have to call my 11-year-old down here. He freestyles way better than I do.
You ready?
I'm be like, take the mic, boy, take the mic. Go ahead, I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Let's hope that the audio levels come out good, but we don't care. We still gonna make it happen.
We're gonna try.
You say you feel comfortable, so let's see what you could do.
See, I feel comfortable when I rehearse. Okay, yeah. What? No problem. Okay, turn my mic up.
Make an excuse already.
I told you it's gonna be one. Okay, I'm ready for real. I'm a doctor and I'm in the city of Chicago. I want to say that I don't know where I'm going to go with this rap. I think that I'm trying to be like somebody, I don't know, Cardi B.
Keep going.
Okay. When I try to break out my freestyle, I think I just might shed a tear. I don't think that rhymed at all, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to drop this ball. I think that I'm going
to keep going.
I'm passing the mic. Dr. Nee. Go on. This is the first time. Boom. Come on, take it. Go.
Hold on, let me make sure. Ignorant people are wasting time, but yet they commit the crime. They uneducate the people who want to learn. And that I'll let y'all listen when my mic drops. So when my album comes out, I'm gonna give y'all the rest. So what'd you think? That was fun, right?
I love it. That was good. That was good. I love it.
Meanwhile, people are like, trash. It was good. It was good. I liked it.
Like if they could do a thumbs down on that one. No, it was
for the first time ever, you was the inaugural person to do.
Thank you.
A freestyle on Docs Outside the Box. I did put you on the spot.
Let the record show. I said.
And the beat is kind of slow though.
But if you wait for things to be perfect, it'll never happen. So we gotta start somewhere.
Let's talk about that. Let's unpack that because I think that's one of the things that we try to talk about on this show is mindset. And, particularly with things that are creative, right? We spend our entire career doing something that's already predetermined. You have to go to school, high school, medical school, college, residency for a certain amount of years. If you do A, you're going to get B out of it. But when you're trying to create something creative or you're trying to do something that's outside the box, it doesn't work that way. So talk to us about, starting and doing something creative and not being perfect.
There's freedom. There's freedom in that. And we all have it. Like we all have something in us that is just our own or that is, we are all creators to a degree is I guess where I'm trying to say. We're all creators to a degree. So if we are taught to do something, you can learn how somebody else does it and then you can take your spin on it. Like my dear friend Beyonce, like I know her personally, she's had done, I don't at all, not even a little bit, but I pretend. So she did that Netflix special, back in, it might have even been last year when she did the Coachella thing. And she was saying like, she dances, she learns these dances. And then once you get them, then you put your own like swag on it. And that's life. That to me, that's life. Like, yes, there are the people who create something out of nothing, right? Create whatever it is out of dust. But there are also those of us who learn how to do something and then take it on our own journey, take it as far as we want to take it or spin it however we want to flip it. And I'm not just talking about parodies because that could be creating something that's fresh and new, but doing it, making a video, writing a book. Like once you learn how to write, then you can write a book. And then for, people who feel like they have it in them, when I wrote my first children's book, I had so many people come to me or send me messages saying like, I've been wanting to do this for so long. Thank you for showing me that a person can do this, because it wasn't perfect. And, and I feel like I'm pretty frank about that, but I did it, and you doing it, or a person doing whatever it is that they want to do until you're dead, it's never too late as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with that 100%. So when I say these names to you, excuse me, I want you to tell me what you think of. So we already talked about her already, but when I say Issa Rae, Samantha Bee, Amanda Seales, I can go down the list. Maybe even, what's the gentleman, the guy who hosts the Daily Show right now? Trevor Noah.
Oh, Trevor Noah. Yeah.
What when I say those names, what do you think about? What's the feeling that you get when I say those names?
Voices. I think of voices, and not even like just outspoken voices, like of course a Trevor Noah or like Amanda Seales, like they speak out. But Issa Rae to me is a little quieter when she's not actually like on the stage or on screen, but she still has a voice. She still has a presence that is her own. Samantha Bee, all of them, same thing. And I feel like even like the other day, somebody tagged me in a Spike Lee post or video or something where he had put on Dropbox the transcript of a movie he wrote that he never published or that he never created. And I downloaded it because I was like, one day your girl's going to write, the script for a movie. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know what it's going to even be about, but I'm going to read this script and I'm going to begin to cultivate my voice, So I just think those people, especially in an age now where it's on trend to not be silent, if that makes any sense, and not that you needed a trend, right? Somebody like, Martin Luther King or, the late John Lewis didn't need a trend to speak out, but they're braver than some of us. I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not super brave, despite how you may perceive me or whatever you see. I'm not super brave. I need to see it to know I can be it. Like I need to see that image or that potential to know I can do it. And that's what I try to be for people. I try to be that also, for kids, for adults. But yeah, I love knowing that there are voices out there that are different than others. And I think that's dope. And I want to be one of those too.
I appreciate that take because that's kind of where I was going with it. Like when I said those names, when I was thinking about them and I was doing the research on you, they have an ability to really be masters at communication, right? Mm-hmm. Like it seems like they own their lane and how they communicate with people, right? Mm-hmm. Samantha Bee comedy, Amanda Seales comedy, Trevor Noah comedy, but at the same time, they're able to give poignant takes on, real life things that are going on right now. Mm-hmm. Make it funny or make it, whatever it may be, just really communicate the essence of what they want to communicate to people. And I was just thinking about when I watched your videos and then I watched some of your interviews on Chicagoland TV. I was like, wow, like she really has that ability to communicate very well in a way that, the girls really understand their bodies better. So I when I was listening to what you were talking about, I was like, man, like I could see her doing that. So
I love that. I appreciate that. And it's funny because every time somebody asks me to be on a show or do something, the pit of my stomach drops every time.
Why?
Like I think by nature, again, I'm not brave. I'm terrified every time. I'm happy to do it. I'm honored to be asked. I freak out until it's over. Really? On the inside until it's over. Like I unwind when it's over, like, oh, finally, because there's something to be said for not wanting to mess up, whatever mess up means, but still doing it. Like I still do it, but I'm always afraid that I'm going to F it up, honestly. But I'm grateful that it's received. And I feel like it's my purpose and plan to keep putting myself out there as long as somebody's interested in listening. And I like to make people laugh. Like somebody sent me a message the other day. They were like, man, my serotonin levels have never been better watching you. And I was like, good. Like if this is therapy for you, then great. You know, it's therapy for me too.
Who in medicine inspires you? Or are you inspired by anybody in medicine?
Dr. Lassiter was my first inspiration. She was the one who was my friend's mom. Another doc who inspired me, who's also since passed, is Dr. Jean Walker. What I loved about Jean Walker, she was an OBGYN that was in my residency training. So these are not people who are famous or wrote books or like in the media necessarily. There are some people in the media that I'm like, oh, they're pretty cool. But like, these are people that I knew. She knew her patients. You know, some people have so many patients and they're just like, such and such is here. She's having a baby. Like, it's like, they don't really know them. They know they're delivering their babies. They don't really know them. She knew her patients. She'd sit there and push with them. She'd sit in the status room and wait for them to, which was like where all the residents and nurses would be, wait for them to get close to delivery. Like no other docs did that. Very few other docs did that. And I'm like, I want to be that. Like, I want to be that person that you're connected to. You're having a whole baby. You know, it's just like a scary experience already. You don't need your doctor to be like the cold, you know, like foreign as in I don't know you person, you know, walking in the room. It should be, I want to be doc that, oh, hey, Dr. McDonald, oh, you're here. I want to be that doc, you know, I want to be that person that's a relief when I come in the room because you know my face or half my face these days. So yeah, those are my inspirations, people like that.
Let's talk about balance. Is there such thing as balance? I mean, you are Dr. Every Woman, right?
I try to be.
That's the name of one of your, or that's the domain name for one of your websites, right? So I mentioned before, you are physician, you are mom, wife, you know, balancing all of this stuff. And obviously musician, author, all of those different slashes after your name. Is there such thing as balance? How are you able to do it?
Yeah. I just kicked my daughter out of the bedroom, so that's probably not a good sign. I was like, get out. No, but because she could do other things. I find that I'm lately learning how to categorize and prioritize my time and keeping myself in there too, because it's easy to lose yourself when you're doing the most. But I do like the idea of being every woman, even with its flaws, because we're not like a, you know, one person. I'm not just a mom, and no shade to people who feel like I'm the best mom or whoever they are the best mom in the world, but you're more than a mom, you know, or you're more than an executive, or you're more than a doctor. I'm making sure they weren't calling me. You're more, because I'm like, is everybody okay? It's like I listen for screams. But you know, you're more than these things. So then, like again, back to the book, the people who were like, oh, you know, I can do this. Yeah, you can write a book. You know, we got however much time on this earth. No day is promised. And if you can do whatever's on your heart and it brings you joy, do that. So there's balance in finding those things that bring that positivity out of yourself. That to me is balance, you know? So it's like, some could say, well, why, you know, maybe you're stressing your body or your mind or whatever by doing so many things. But if I can line them up in a way that I don't sacrifice my own health and safety and mental health, then I actually am better off, you know, emotionally and physically, because I now I'm working out on, you know, and I'm doing these other things that are all important to me. Maybe I don't watch as many Netflix specials as I would like, you know, but that's all time. Everything in life is a balance of time. And, you know, I think I'm getting pretty decent at it lately.
Well, I think also, you know, there's a difference between being every woman versus trying to be superwoman. Also,
yes.
You know, so I think
that's huge.
That's huge. That's huge. Now you gave props to, you know, the music as an inspiration.
Yeah.
Sometimes you give props to something that, you know, we don't normally look at as inspiration, which is your student loans.
Yes.
Them loans though. So
them loans though.
Let's talk about that. Why is your student loan an inspiration?
You know, most great things are birthed out of some sort of need. And maybe they're a need from others, right? So whether it's the vaccine that we're hoping that will be birthed out of the need to save lives, you know, or the educational system that's birthed out of the need for these kids to be able to live prosperous lives and not go to jail. But for me, even the blogging, part of the visibility toward getting the books and the music and that stuff going was a need to not live in debt and not have my children perpetuated or not perpetuated, but inheriting debt. Who wants to inherit, student loans as their like legacy? And not to say that my kids would have to pay my student loans, but if I don't pay my own student loans and can't pay for their education, then now they have student loans too. So, money and if these kids, money and girl, I mean, dude, I swear to God, if these kids can get a leg up financially, whether it's from any of these hustles, I'm the queen of the side hustle, from any of these hustles, or my main hustle, by the way, I'm a whole doctor. If I can get the leg up and give them the leg up, that's huge. So that is a drive, to push, to grind. If I was comfortable living the lavish, luxurious life, I may not have been pushed into it, pushed as in mentally, not that somebody pushed me, but I pushed myself into this space of doing some of these other things. Now, say right now, today, I got $1 million and was able to pay off all my loans. Not that they cost $1 million, but regardless, I mean, it ain't that far from there.
Where they at? Tell us a little. Give us a little roundabout.
I mean, we still
you married to a doctor.
Listen, we both married to loans. Forget married to medicine, married to loans, married to loans. Because neither one of us had them, by the way, in undergrad. Like we both came out of undergrad loanless. And med school took us both out. We're probably still a good $400,000 in the hole, like for real. And we pay them, we on time, but it's like, who wants to do that? And then if you pay them at the schedule, you pay double, So we're both looking for that, like, and the other with the interest, like if you weren't paying as much interest, they'd have been paid off. Like as much money as we have paid over the last, almost decade out of residency, they should have been gone. But I know you and your wife were dope at putting more money into it. We started having kids pretty early. There's just so many factors.
Yeah, I think it's personal. Personal finance is personal.
Yeah, so many factors. But if we can get out of it, and so my if right today I got $1 million, I would still do all the things I'm doing, right? Because I think it's important. I think that the education is important, the information is important, and I have a good time doing it. Right, more studio time. But I don't know that I would have started it if not, had there not been that need.
So what you're saying basically is that the student loans was a pain point for you, right? There was a pain point for you, and you had to figure out another way to get these loans paid down as quickly as possible. For us, it's the same thing. Like we couldn't live in New York and New Jersey because we just couldn't afford to do it. So we lived in a rural area of Pennsylvania, and we had to be hours away from family.
Yep.
Both immigrants. So, just always wanted to be close to family. So we knew like as long as these loans were on our backs, so to speak, we wouldn't be able to see family. And then, obviously the whole IVF stuff came in also. So I agree with you. Personal finance is very personal, right? And I love the fact that you use it for inspiration. I love the fact that you give it a shout out in your music, and I think that also lends to the whole Dr. Every Woman thing too, right? Like I'm struggling like this, just like you, right?
Yes. Yeah, maybe on a different scale because like you make money, but these loans, what I pay in loans is probably more than a lot of people make, a month. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all relative, and it's all, like you said, we all struggling, we all driving, we're all grinding. Like this life isn't easy, but we're making the best of it.
Now look, Dr. Wendy, we covered a lot actually. We covered a lot on this episode. So let me ask you a question for the folks who are looking for like that one thing to take away from this episode. What is that one thing, that one piece of nugget, that you want them to take away from the show?
That thing that keeps you up at night, that thing that won't let you go, that thing that creeps up in your brain when you're like in the shower or you sit on the toilet, let's be real.
Sitting on the toilet.
Because you get clear? Man, you be clear sitting on that toilet. Man, I know I did that one rap. That's terrible. But you get like those moments where you're like, man, I wish I could. I really want to. I think this would be cool if do that thing, and I don't think a person needs to abandon their livelihood, clearly, Dr. Every Woman, to do that thing. I think that you can find the time, you can make the time, you can push away something that's not as important to you to get it done. There's always something in our lives that we don't need to be doing, time wise. You don't need to be sitting and scrolling on Instagram like I do for an hour. You know what I mean?
You just say you're going to go on for a second and 2 hours later.
TikTok is bad for that too, because you be trying to exit out of TikTok. It's like, no, let me watch one more. Watch one more. You like, I don't want to watch one more, but what is this one? What is this one? So, but you don't have to do that. At one point I had to even put a timeout app on my phone. Like you've seen enough today because you got other stuff to do basically, but do that. That's the one thing that I think a person can take away, because in a world where we're whittling down to the things that are important, health and safety wise, etc. Now more than ever, I think we need to focus on what brings us joy and what is going to add value to either our lives or somebody else's. And what is that thing? That's that thing that you sleep in, that you stay up thinking about, or that thing that creeps up in the shower or on the toilet. That's how I feel.
What is it that you're consuming right now that's inspiring you? So I don't know. It could be a playlist that you are driving to work with, or something on TV. I know you don't watch Netflix much, but what is it? I
don't. Although my husband told me about a Nina Simone documentary that I want to catch on Netflix. I'll probably do that while I'm doing some laundry later. My girl, my homie, my doctor friend from Xavier, Dr. Alana, she's been telling me about it for like a year, maybe not a year, maybe 6 months. This empathy skills like course that she did, she recorded. And, I'm like telling people about it. I'm like, oh yeah, do her course. I'm like, let me do this course. This course is dope. Like when I tell you, it is reframing not only how I think in my mind about the external things that are like, that come to me, people, relationships. It's helping me to help my kids to be more cordial to one another. It's helping me with my husband, just like not being so self-centered. I think all of us have the tendency to think of the world through our own brains. It's like human nature, literally. It's through our own minds. But to understand what empathy really is and to practice it is not something that we've been taught. So that's been my latest thing. I put it on. She's got I think it's like 6 modules, and I think I'm like on number 4. Put it on the way to work, on the way back home, and just listen. And it's been gold, like for real.
Well, I think we all can use some empathy, especially nowadays. Understanding other people's plight from so many different backgrounds, from health to racial issues to class, economics. There's so many different ways in which that we can just do a better job of understanding other people's plight. So.
Yes. We'll all be better off. All of us.
Now, look, Dr. Wendy, I asked this to all my guests, so you're going to be included in this also. So I'm Dr. Wendy McDonald. I'm not just a doc. I'm a
rapper. After today's freestyle, I don't even know if I could claim that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I lost street cred today.
How about this? I'm gonna listen to it, and if it's not that good, I'll edit it out. How about that?
You do what you think is best. If it's not good, you know how I am. But you know how I just told you. Like if it's trash, it's just gonna be trash, and one day it'll be better. So there it is. You know what I'm saying? It's cool.
No, it was good. It was good. It was hotness. But Dr. Wendy McDonald, yo, for real, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was really fire. This was good.
I think I had a good time. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I think your husband's next now, right? So we got to get him on the show. Make sure that our GI system and our health and all that stuff is acting right and stuff. But for real, I just want to give you props and say kudos to embracing who you are, all the imperfections, and deciding to teach your patients in a way that best how to, and the way in which they understand, right? Because there's something to be said when you got all the knowledge, but if you can't communicate with your patients, then what good is that all that
exactly
right? So
exactly.
Kudos to you. Keep doing the great work.
Thank you so much. You have a great one. Thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it.
And before we jet real quick, just let the audience know, for those who are listening to this and learning about you for the first time, how can they get in touch with you or follow you, find your videos? Tell them all that. I
am on the interwebs, all things, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, when I feel like it, Dr. Every Woman. Dr. Everywoman, dreverywoman.com as well. My website was just rebuilt and in the process of re-adding content, but I'm on YouTube. I'm starting this thing, actually just started last night, and it's going really well. Women Crush Wednesdays Q&A. So dropping a little like, hey, ask me any question and I'll throw out some answers. So if people want to connect with me there, I am not your doctor unless I'm your doctor. So I don't just, dispense personal health information, but I do enjoy sharing general health and wellness information. So yeah, so you can connect with me anywhere. Instagram is usually where I am though.
Boom. There it is.